cannibalizes the Brutale 800 pretty heavily for its skin and bones. Its 3-cylinder motor that produces a claimed 140 horsepower and 64 pound-feet of torque is present, as is the tubular steel chassis, trademark MV Agusta single-sided swingarm, 43mm Marzocchi fully adjustable front suspension and Sachs monoshock, and the same Brembo 4-piston brakes mated to a Nissin master cylinder. There's also the same electronics platform that includes a 5.5-inch TFT dash, IMU fettled traction control, cornering ABS, cruise control, for riding modes of sport, race, rain and custom via the ride-by-wire throttle, an up-and-down quickshifter and full LED lighting that has its own cornering function to light the inside of the bend when cranked over. Basically it's the wheels and the riding position that's it. The Dragster rolls on gorgeous cast aluminum spoke wheels with the spokes only attached to the right side of the wheel. Compared to the Brutale's more traditional slanted 6-spoke design, this design cue alone angled much more at the target audience of cafe street racers than the Brutale's racier crowd. The big difference, however, is in the ride position. The Dragster utilizes a more cup seat with a longer, flatter bottom section which, depending on how you like your ride, is either good or bad. I preferred the Dragster's higher-backed version over the Brutale, which has a similar profile to that of the track-focused F3RR Supersport machine, although the sharper sides that ran either side of my thighs got uncomfortable quickly. Nestled beneath either side of the Dragster's seat is a design feature every MV should and sadly doesn't have in the retractable passenger footpegs. The pegs sit on a swivel and click neatly under the seat when not in use with a satisfying little thunk, allowing the machine to display the glorious 3-cylinder exhaust muffler in almost all its glory. Compare this to the Brutale RR that costs nearly twice this much, which has fixed passenger footpegs that crowd the muffler and look decidedly cheap. Sometimes even MV gets their design cues wrong. Another feature of the Dragster is the side-mounted rear vision mirrors that look great when standing still but not so great when you're riding. They are difficult to adjust up and down and tend to vibrate so much as to be basically useless. At least you can fold them in when lane-splitting filtering, as their appearance on the Dragster makes the machine a fair bit wider at the shoulders. I would personally go for those funky drop-down mirrors that sit below the handlebar, but I'm not sure entirely how legal they are, at least in this state. Design aspects aside, the Dragster's ride will make you glad you've parked one in your garage. When used in sport mode, the 3-cylinder motor still retains a little of the traditional MV throttle snatch, but it's way ahead of what it was even 2 years ago, thanks to improvements in initial throttle mapping. This makes the Dragster much more enjoyable in slow-speed situations while still retaining all the punch needed for when the road opens up. Get the Dragster spinning north of 5,000 RPM, and you're met with oodles of torque from the counter-rotating crank. That still gives you around 8,000 RPM of usable motor range to play with, and the little 798 cubic centimeters donk between your legs will play with you right up into that 13,000 RPM redline. The Dragster is lacking in that initial punch off the bottom of the rev range, so in that regard, a Yamaha MT-09 will retain somewhat of an edge. But the MV spins up much faster than the Yamaha will and rushes towards its redline with more enthusiasm. Clicking up through the gears on the brilliant MV Agusta race-style quickshifter is addictive fun. MV's nailed the quickshifter, which gives just the right amount of kill to ensure smooth full power gear changes. The MV has a compact chassis, with a wheelbase of just 55.1 inches, direction changes are snappy and precise, and its dry weight of 385 pounds means you simply look where you want to go, and the chassis will oblige. Running the MV trademark Marzocchi Sachs setup, the ride is firm but not as offensive as it is on the larger Brutale RS, which almost seems to ratchet up the stiffness in direct response to the more ponies put out by the 999 cubic centimeters per cylinder motor. The Dragster's taut suspension is both a help and hindrance, as there's only so much you can tune out before you just must put up with it and get on with the ride. For the most part, the fork offers a comfortable ride, but the rear Sachs retains that initial shock on the high-speed compression circuit that's almost impossible to tune out. Under acceleration, the Dragster will track strong and true while cranked over, again, a product of the sporty nature of the machine. But if you're looking for something a touch more comfortable for everyday use, perhaps the Turismo Veloce would be more your style.